hello.
Oh, hello.
And welcome to the Comic Queens podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie. And today, Alex and I are very happy and proud of ourselves because today we are focusing on catching up with some completed series.
Yeah.
What does that mean, you might ask yourself? And the answer is pretty simple. Alex and I get distracted by a lot of other series. And then when we go back to other series, we realize that in the time that it took for us to get back to it, the series ended.
Yeah.
So today, Alex and I are doing some catch-ups with a few of the different series that we fell behind on. And we're just going to talk about how we felt the ending went, how it feels now that the series is over, and, pat ourselves on the back a little. I'm going to start us out today with one that has been off of my radar for a little bit. Didn't realize this one completed until very recently. This is Werewolves Going Crazy Over Me. It's on Manta. It's now completed with 68 episodes. And it's a supernatural romance series. There's obviously werewolves, and they're obviously going crazy over the main character. If you haven't read this one, a really brief synopsis is we have our main character, Olivia. She is the mother of a daughter, Luna, and she lives alone. And she one day stumbles upon this man who's injured in an alleyway, takes him home, as smart people do. And then they have just a beautiful kiss and he disappears in the night. And turns out that she sees this man on TV the next day. He is like the CEO of this huge pharmaceutical company. And they're both extremely drawn to one another. Mm-hmm. You learn that it's because he's a werewolf. And she has some specific powers to her.
I remember, because I started reading this one with you.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have, he liked her because there was someone else who looked just like her, right?
Yeah, and they both had this, calming presence about them.
Yeah.
That, when he was near them, he was able to heal faster.
Yeah.
So he is immediately drawn to her. And, most of the story is them kind of going back and forth. There's, this will they, won't they romance throughout a lot of it. But the public assumes that they're in a relationship because she steps in for him at a press conference. And they kind of just lean into the fake rumors for a while as well. So they get to fake date.
Mm-hmm.
But at first, he's using her, Damien, this werewolf, who is also a CEO, is using her because he realizes that she has these powers that help to calm him down and help him heal faster. And he wants to find a way to control that and put it into a medicine. And she just likes him because he's hot. Let's just call it what it is. Olivia, she's a girl after my own heart. I understand.
He does pay for her daughter's treatments, though.
He does. He pays for the daughter's treatments. But they do so, he's definitely doing it to get closer. And she's like, oh, okay. He's this weird guy who's working to get closer to her and she has no idea why. But where I had left off is actually after season 2, where they have officially started dating one another. She actually meets his family. And it ends on the cliffhanger of him saying, I have to tell you something. So right at the start of season 3, where I'm picking this back up,
mm-hmm.
he not only confesses that he's a werewolf, but he also confesses that he is in love with her at the exact same time. That's a lot to take in. And Olivia, instead of having any kind of crazy reaction, is just you always just assume the worst. Because he's like, oh, I can move all of your stuff out of my penthouse. And she's like, excuse you, I never said I was leaving. So they both decide that they mutually love each other and want to continue dating, even though things kind of started in a bit of a haphazard way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, then things kind of get a little crazy. And that's saying a lot. So this season 3 and the ending of the series in general is completed in 11 episodes, which
pretty quick.
Is not impossible, but it's pretty quick. And I will say, while reading it, it felt that way.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the episodes didn't even feel like there was much continuity. It kind of just felt like, oh, we're here, we're back here now. And it was jumping around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But first, you see that Damien's trying to now consensually use Olivia to see what kind of powers it is that she has. And he says that actually her powers are the strongest when she's turned on. But also, that was never mentioned before. And she wasn't turned on when she found an injured man in an alleyway. So I have questions.
Yeah.
But in any case, it led into like a nice romantic scene with them. Olivia's friend is just like, I mean, do you like this guy? Are you going to get married? He's a CEO. I would absolutely hop on that immediately. And I get it. Same, girl. But they end up deciding that they're going to look into Olivia's family background because when they studied Luna's blood tests, they came back as basically just being the pheromones that Olivia gives off, but they're like too strong in Luna's body.
Oh, that's why she was sick?
And that's why she's sick. Oh. And so it's something passed down. So they're like, we want to know who your parents are. So they go to this foster home.
She was adopted?
She was adopted.
Okay.
There's no information about her birth parents. But they do find out that the priest, who is the antagonist throughout the first 2 seasons, is Olivia's brother.
Okay.
She has no idea about this, even though they supposedly grew up together in the foster home and share a name and everything else. So it's a little confusing how she didn't know. But then basically they find out that he was a werewolf hunter.
The priest.
The priest.
Okay.
And Olivia needs to be explained to what a hunter is.
Like in general, she just has never heard of deer hunting.
And then Damien goes, yeah, they're the people who hunt werewolves. And I was like, cool.
Oh no.
Yeah, I did laugh out loud at that one. But like she finds out that this like murderous priest is her brother.
Did something happen? Like, is there a specific event that they use to explain the reason why she doesn't remember him?
No.
Okay.
No. The priest, you find out, was a hunter. And they said the best way to hunt the werewolves is by becoming a werewolf. So they're actually just like traitor werewolves that also track down and kill werewolves. But like they're also werewolves. And then maybe we could count how many times I said werewolf. So Olivia's upset by this because, you know, she didn't realize that this was her brother apparently, and also she found out that he's a terrible murderer.
And also she just learned what a hunter is.
Yeah, it's a big day for her. So there's like a random scene where Damien makes a pizza with Luna for their mom, and she's like, oh, like, this is a lot of pepperoni. Also, your cheeks look like pepperonis when you blush. You should marry my mom. It's very, yeah, it's a lot. And then you find out that this foster care that she was living in as a kid was using their doctors to test this different medication on children. And they were raising this group of children to be bait. And so Olivia was raised to be bait for a werewolf to lure them to her so that hunters could attack them.
Okay.
You then find out that the priest, when he realized that all of the hunters were using bait and that his little sister was bait, he decided to kill the hunters and the werewolves. So now he just hates everybody.
Yeah.
He comes back in contact with Olivia because he pretends like Olivia's friend Max is dead.
Oh, I remember
technically
Max.
You haven't seen him. So you don't really know. And he tricked her because, of course, he did. And so she goes, and he doesn't like say, hey, I'm your brother. There's no acknowledgement of the relationship. But he's just like, yeah, you're bait, and I'm going to use you to lure Damien here. And then Damien shows up. The priest shoots Damien. And then immediately Olivia rushes over to his side. And after rushing over to his side, you see that Damien doesn't heal. And it's because they've found a cure for getting rid of Olivia's pheromones.
And they gave it to her?
And it was by being a mate with a wolf. And once you're a mate, apparently the pheromones go away.
Okay, wait. What?
Yes.
So, like, is there a ceremony to become a mate? Or is it just because they're together now for real?
It was like an imprinting thing.
Oh, no.
But, like, you don't see it. They just, like, talk about how it happened.
Yeah.
And then the priest is like, oh my gosh. And then they bring up Julia, who's the girl who Olivia looked like.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the priest is really upset by this.
Okay.
And then that's it. And then basically you see that Damien and her get married. Oh, the priest kills himself. And then Damien and Olivia get married and live together, and Luna goes to school. And that literally is how it ends.
Well, I don't know what to say.
You know what I'll say? The amount of laughing I've done, my cheeks look like pepperoni.
Does that mean we should get married?
I'm not even going to lie. I don't know that they should have gotten married.
Yeah.
The closure for this one was clunky. And I will say the artwork also like simplified.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always here for like if it's easier for an artist, that's fine. But it almost felt like a rushed ending.
Yeah, like maybe something happened. And
Maybe something happened. This isn't as disappointing as like my Dear Maid situation, which if you're listening and you've missed out on what that is, we're not even going to get into it.
Yeah.
But I will say, yeah, this one was clunky to finish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am still curious. I think I will still finish this one. If only because I just need to see all of this stuff for myself.
You do. I feel like you could take my word for it, but honestly, reading it yourself is going to be the most impactful.
Yeah, that's fair. And then we can rate it together at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We can. Go ahead.
So it's kind of funny that everything you were talking about for that one with like the experimenting on kids and all of that stuff was in your story, because the one that I'm talking about also has that. This is called Be My Villain. This is on Webtoon. It's an action boy love self-growth story. It's 152 episodes.
That's hefty.
And it had been like probably 2 years since I had read the first 100 episodes to the last 50. So I went and reread the entire thing. And I'm glad that I did, because I forgot how funny it was.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a pat on the back right now.
Thank you. Me too. So this one is, I don't even know if I've talked to you about this one, like, at all.
I don't know.
Maybe a while ago.
Yeah. I mean, probably like a year ago when you were reading it originally.
Yeah. So this one is about a guy. His name is Mills Milliport Milton.
That's a name.
Yes. First name Mills, last name Milliport-Milton. That is for his two fathers. One is Max Milliport. The other is Sebastian Milton. And they just gave him the hyphen name so he would have both of their names.
Sometimes that just feels cruel.
For the Mills. And they did the Mills themselves. He was not named Mills originally.
Yeah. He could have been like John.
Yeah.
So that was a choice.
That was a choice that they made. And it's fine, you know.
He lives with it.
They did that choice. He's still a great main character. He's kind of awkward. I love him. So he's a high school kid, and he lives in a world where there's an agency. It's like a government agency that controls this serum. And this serum can give you enhancements to like give you super speed, super strength. You heal really quickly. And what happened is that like it was kind of doomsday, end of the world. There were very, very divided classes of just people living in extreme poverty, homeless, not able to protect themselves or anyone else around them. And then like the extreme wealthy. Now, because the extreme poverty was happening and they were getting, you know, looted and they couldn't keep themselves from getting all of their belongings stolen, they came up with a serum to inject into people to give them superpowers as gangs. And so then once the wealthy people started getting robbed, then it became an issue. And now that's why they responded and said, okay, now we'll make an agency.
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all just like background for the story. So where we start off in this story, we have Mills. He is walking home from school. There's a citywide attack happening. Mills goes in to save a lady who is like stuck out in the open. And a villain named Shadowmaker sees this happening and goes down and saves Mills and the lady. And Mills is like, what the fuck? This is a villain. He's like villain number one that my dads are trying to capture. And he just saved me. What's going on? That's weird.
Yeah.
Later on, he is walking back to school again, and he finds a cat, and he goes to, like, feed this cat, and all of a sudden, Shadowmaker shows up again and starts feeding the cat, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me. Like, he came back here to make sure that, like, I don't tell anyone, but he just wanted to feed the cat.
Don't we all?
Yeah, and so then he gives Mills some cat treats, and Mills is like, oh, you want me to eat the cat treats? And he goes to eat them, and then the Shadowmaker, he's in like a full black suit, so you can't see his face or his expressions, but you kind of get the gist that he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Feed the cat. So he feeds the cat and he goes home and he just can't get over this. He's like, this is weird. He's a villain, but he didn't attack me again. He could have killed me multiple times. He didn't have to save me and that lady. What's going on? So he goes back to the cat to seek him out. And they have another interaction. Again, Mills, super awkward. Shadowmaker gives Mills his phone to put in his phone number, and Mills thinks that he's giving him a phone to track him, so he just takes the phone and puts it in his pocket. And then he realizes what's happening, and he's super embarrassed. He's like, oh, okay, and so he gives him his real phone number, gives it back to Shadowmaker, and Shadowmaker asks him out on a date.
Aww.
Yeah. Now, Shadowmaker, also super awkward. His real name is Aiden, we find out. And he takes Mills on a date. He's super, super wealthy. And his brother and him are like a duo team. So he rents out an entire restaurant so that they won't be interrupted and he can, you know, go in his disguise, which is not the Shadowmaker outfit because that would be too obvious. But he still doesn't want to show his face. So he wears a cat head because he fed the cat with Mills, and he's like, Mills likes cats, I'm gonna wear this cat head. And then his brother shows up with a cat mask as the waiter, and it's just like awkward all around. It is like the most awkward first date ever, and I love it.
You really have a thing for stories where people rent out different food establishments.
You know what? I love a generous billionaire.
Man, I really love fiction.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, where else am I going to read that?
Nowhere.
So they keep going on a few dates and they just get closer. Eventually he does find out who Aiden actually is. Like, he sees his face when there's a lady who is attacking Shadowmaker, and she rips off his mask, and so then he is revealed who he actually is. So,
and he's beautiful.
And he's beautiful. White hair, like piercing blue glowing eyes.
Don't mind me, I'm just pulling it up.
Yeah, you'll see. So Mills wants to go on a picnic date. And so he goes and he's like, okay, now that I know what Aiden looks like, is he still going to show up in a cat mask, or will I get to be out in public with him just regular? And so he goes and he sees a guy in a full cat costume. He goes and he sits down next to this guy and he starts talking to him, and he's like, I get it. You probably didn't want people to see you out here with me. And like goes on this huge explanation. And he's always kind of second guessing himself. He's like, it's the, oh, could you please, never mind if it's too much to ask, I'm sorry that I exist type of vibe, you know? And like sends 10 texts in a row that get progressively like, oh, if you're busy, it's okay, and I'm sorry, I won't message you again. I know that you're really busy, but I just wanted to say this. And then he's like, do you want to go to the park with me? And the only response is just yes. But he's talking to this guy in this cat suit, and the guy's like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's just a random guy. It's not Aiden. And then Aiden walks up fully just in his own outfit, no helmet, no cat hat or anything. He's super embarrassed again. And they go on, there's another attack. So attacks keep happening. Mm-hmm. And his dads are like top of the agency. There is the faction, which is like the gangs that had the serum first.
Okay.
And so they're fighting against the agency. And so all of that is like what's going on in the news. But Shadowmaker and his brother, the faction and the agency, are all realizing that there's someone else who has created a new serum that's even stronger. So they are stealing homeless people off the streets and injecting them with this to try and like test it on them. So then you hear Aiden's backstory. He tells Mills that he grew up in an orphanage, and him and a bunch of kids from the orphanage that he was at were adopted not by one set of parents, but like each by different sets of parents. But then when they were adopted, they were taken to a facility and essentially had to like go through all of these experiments themselves, go through all of this physical testing of like fighting and running and all of this kind of stamina stuff to see who's the strongest, because that was when they were testing the original serum. So that's when you find out that like this has happened before and it's happening again kind of thing. And so you find out what happened to Aiden. Everyone that he knew at that orphanage had died that way, and the orphanage was burnt down.
Yeah.
And not his actual sister, but his older sister in the orphanage, they were very close, and they had promised to stay together throughout all of this, and she ended up dying too, and so he's just distraught that he couldn't help everyone.
Yeah.
And so he is on a revenge mission to get back at these people who created the serum. All of that's happening, and then Mills's dads are attacked by the faction. And Mills sees that his dads are not doing well in this fight, because you can see it on TV, and they have secret identities, but he knows it's his dad's.
Yeah.
So he begs Aiden to go help them. So Aiden goes as Shadowmaker and helps them, gets them out. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you well, one of them is down and out for the count. He's like knocked out. But the other one, he's like, what the fuck is happening? Why are you doing this? And he's like, Mills sent me. And the dad's like, that answers none of my questions. What the fuck?
I think I now have more questions. Thank you.
But he gets him out, and then the dads are quarantined at the agency. They're not allowed to come home. So Mills is staying with Aiden for the time being. And Aiden's brother, his name is Ryong, and Mills's godmother, her name is Eva. They have they're my absolute favorite secondary characters, although I don't know, the dads are really funny too. Honestly, everyone in this series was fabulous. I loved it. The dads are just those super, they're the parents that are still super, super in love, and they embarrass Mills all the time, with just being super happy and cute, and they're great. And Ryong is enamored with Eva, and he's super sarcastic and snarky and all of that, and they just have a great relationship as well. So all of this happens. They all start working together once the truth comes out that Shadowmaker is who he is, what he's doing, and why he's with Mills. So then they all start working together once they realize they're trying to find this serum.
Yeah.
Then they go to an auction where this serum is supposed to be revealed. And it's not revealed. So then they have to go to the agency has now gotten the serum, and they're revealing it as their own serum, not that they have found it from someone else. And then the faction attacks the agency. Mills injects himself because he's tired of being the one who can't protect the people that he loves and feeling like he's the one who's always needing to be saved.
Yeah.
And always causing everyone else harm. After that, he has to go into the academy because he's been registered as being one of the enhanced people.
Yeah.
Aiden stays as a janitor there. He gets a secret undercover job as a janitor so he can be close to Mills. And then he gets, digs up some information.
Yeah.
So this is when the big bombs drop. And we find out that the agency hired this group called Ouroboros to develop the serum. And they're the ones who, used the kids as tests.
Did the dads know?
The dads didn't know. But you also find out they had always told Mills that they adopted him after he was in a car accident. And he has no memories of his childhood until he meets his dads. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that he was at one of those orphanages. And he hadn't been taken to be part of the experimented on. But once the agency found out what was happening, they were going and blowing up orphanages to cover their tracks.
Yeah.
So they go and blow up all these orphanages. The dads, one of their first missions was to go to this orphanage. And so they go there. They didn't know what they were walking into at all. They were told that the faction is the one who bombed these orphanages. And they're like, why would people do this? This is horrible. Mm-hmm. So they're looking around. They're trying to find anyone who's alive that they can save. And they find Mills. He's the only person there. Mm. And they don't want to tell him that that's what happened. So they don't tell him that. They tell him he was in the car accident instead. Yeah. So he finds that out. They find out what happened to Aiden. Aiden tells the dads his story too. And so everything kind of comes out into the open at this point, and they kind of realize that their common enemy is the agency and Ouroboros, because they both had a part in this, plan. Even though the agency didn't do it themselves, they covered it up, and they allowed it.
And they requested it sounds like.
Yeah. They didn't know what they were going to do to develop the serum, but once they found out, instead of being like, I'm condemning you, this is wrong, they were like, we can't let anyone know that this happened. So
great.
Everything's out in the open. They do find the people from Ouroboros and take them down. Mm-hmm. And this is when Mills finds out that he was in this orphanage because one of the guys who's at the top of the chain for Ouroboros was actually his brother at the orphanage. And he didn't remember him at all, which is why I was asking, was there an event that is the reason that Olivia didn't remember her brother from the orphanage? Yeah. Because that's exactly what happened here. Mills had this, traumatic experience. He didn't remember anything until he's confronted with his brother. And then they're kind of talking and the memories start to come back to him. He remembers his brother and he remembers the orphanage and what happened and everything. So... yeah. They take them down, they expose the agency, and everything just kind of comes together. And we have some super, super great fluff at the end where we see that Mills and Aiden get an apartment together, and they've decommissioned the enhanced super soldier program. Mm-hmm. So they have an anti-serum. So everyone's getting the anti-serum now. Aiden chooses not to, I think, mostly because he just wants to be able to protect Mills no matter what. So he doesn't do it. But also he wasn't registered, so he doesn't have to. But the dads get decommissioned and they open a bakery. Aww. Super cute. Love them. One of the dads, Sebastian, he's a hard ass. He's the one who's, him and Aiden were not getting along because he was like, you must treat my son right and you're a villain and I don't like you. And giving him lots of shit.
Yeah.
And it's just super funny. But they end with them all throwing a surprise birthday party for Aiden. And just Mills and Aiden are looking at everyone dancing at this party. And he's looking specifically at his dads and saying, I want that to be us when we're older. To be happy and just, still living our lives and doing what we want to do. Aww. And that's it. And it's so cute. I love it. I loved it. I'm so glad I went back.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I know that was a long one, but it was good.
150 episodes. That's long.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I honestly, that sounds really cute. Is it one that you have to unlock or is it just...
No, you can just read it at your leisure.
I will. That's the way I'll do it. Well, the next one I'm talking about is a little bit shorter because it's specifically the side stories for a specific story. This one is for I've Become a True Villainess. It's part of the Manta subscription. It was completed with 98 of the full story episodes and then 19 bonus episodes as well. It's a romantasy series. We loved the series when it was releasing regularly. And then they did start with those surprise bonus episodes, which they didn't really announce much And they still kept the series and completed the entire time. But I kind of just kept forgetting that the side stories existed. Like, I knew because we talked about it when we first noticed.
Yeah.
And then I just completely forgot. And I fell off.
You pointed them out to me, and then I read them week to week. I was obsessed with Rouge. He was like my favorite male lead.
Listen, Rouge is beautiful. The white hair, red eyes.
Yeah.
Great.
Love him.
I just wanted to highlight this one because I did end up finishing the series now. And these side stories were so freaking cute. Like, it feels very separate to me from the main story. But each of the little side stories that they threw in there were so great. They have the Saria and Rouge switching bodies, which was hilarious.
Yes.
Especially because Saria is known for, like, overworking herself. And she was pregnant at the time. So Rouge would just immediately get into Saria's body and go and lay down and rest like she was supposed to. I loved just seeing the daughters and how they got their powers and how they started manifesting and they came together as a family to kind of balance all that out. Tubin also loved the daughters immediately, so that was precious. And then you have like a weird love triangle between Lennon and Sir Elliot and BB. And really, I just loved this because it's just the two guys being like, oh, I love BB. And Sir Elliot wants to spar with her. And Lennon is just like, oh, she keeps me safe. I love her so much. And BB couldn't care less. Only cares about Saria. Like, the two boys, she didn't even know they bought her pins, like, when they were right there all together. She's just like, I bought this pin for Saria. It's so beautiful. And I think that the favorite of mine was the fact that they end it on an Office alternate universe. And now I want an entire remake of this story.
With an Office.
As an Office.
Yeah. Me too.
So, kind of sad that it's over at this point. But I do think that they were just really fun fluff to read throughout. Yeah. So, I'm super happy I caught up on it. Glad to say that I'm officially completed with the series. And I don't know, whenever series do this and they go from being completed to like releasing side stories, I'm always like, are stories really completed when they say they are? Are they going to come back? But this one feels like it's genuinely over.
I loved the side stories so much.
Yeah.
What did you think about the looking at the original story, but from Rouge's perspective?
I loved them.
Wasn't it so good?
Here's the thing. Anything with Rouge is perfect.
Yeah.
He is just like the best, most caring husband to Saria.
The greenest flag.
And has loved her since forever. Because of course he did.
Yeah. It's perfect.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Well, the next one that I have is Reunion. Now, this is one that you have already finished. And we started this one. I think that I recommended this one to you because it was the gender swap.
You did?
Yes. So.
You very specifically said, picture this. Finding Camellia, BL.
Exactly. And what more could you need? This one is on Manta. It's also on Leezen. It's a boy love, secret identity, memory loss story. There are 77 episodes or 81, depending on if you're reading the full version or the all ages version.
Yeah.
I read the all ages version for this one just because it's what I started with when we started on Manta. It's part of the unlimited subscription. Now, that being said, this is one that if it came out with physical volumes, I would purchase them in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I love this story so much. So just as like a quick recap, we have our main character, Ha-kyung, and he is a young man who is trying to provide for his mother who's in the hospital and his younger brother who's in college. And, well, I guess at the time he was in high school. But he's trying to provide for his family, and he is really not able to make ends meet until he gets an offer from a wealthy chaebol family. And the chairman of the family is an elderly man. He's kind of on his last leg, not doing well health-wise, and he has a very specific memory that he wants to find a girl named Ji-young, who he knew from a long time ago. Ji-young has died, But Ha-kyung knew her and like grew up with her for a little while in the same village. And so the son of this chairman goes in and finds Ha-kyung and says, like, I want you to pretend to be Ji-young to appease my father.
Yeah.
I'll pay you handsomely.
Mm-hmm.
So he pays for all of the mom's medical bills with this money. And he goes and he pretends to be this girl. And they have tried to say that there are other girls who were this girl before. And the grandfather is always like, no, that's not her. But this time, because Ha-kyung knows the like details about this girl, it's a little bit more believable. And so he ends up staying at this villa the whole summer, and Ha-kyung stays at this villa as well as Ji-young. Now, another member of the family stays there, the grandson. His name is Yoon-sung. And they have this whole little side romance, which is the part where the gender bender part comes in, because he at first doesn't know that Ji-young is a man. Mm-hmm. And so they end up getting engaged. Like, this goes on for a long time. They first start being in a secret relationship because the grandfather, or I guess a fake relationship, because the grandfather wants them to be together. And so they're like, well, let's just make him happy and say that we are. Real feelings develop after that. Jump forward into the future, and Yoon-sung has no memory of any of this. He has lost his memory, and we don't know how. Ha-kyung doesn't know how. And he runs into Yoon-sung while he's out, and Yoon-sung asks him to help him on a mission to recover his lost memories. So Ha-kyung is like, I don't know what to do. He ends up doing it. They go back to this villa for a while. You get to see like some of the past, some of the present, where they're getting close again. And where we left off in season 3 is, well, where I left off. I had read a few episodes in. So where I left off was them getting into that car accident. So the grandfather has gotten very ill. He's in the hospital. And Yoon-sung and Ji-young are driving to the hospital to go be with the grandfather. And on their way, they get hit by a car. Both of them end up getting into comas, and Yoon-sung is taken to a bigger hospital because he had more severe damage. Mm-hmm. And Ha-kyung is left at this other hospital. When Yoon-sung wakes up, they tell him that Ji-young has died, that she did not survive this car accident. And to them, the family, it's kind of like the perfect way to get rid of Ji-young, because they don't want Ji-young around, because everyone else in the family somehow besides Yoon-sung knew that Ji-young was Ha-kyung. Mm-hmm. So Yoon-sung goes into a horrible depression at this because he is just absolutely devastated. He loved Ji-young and he was going to marry her for real. So when he gets out of the hospital, his family is like not treating him well either. They're kind of like, get over it. Like, you knew this was never going to work out anyways. She wasn't of our standards. So like, it was never going to happen. And so he ends up driving into a lake because he's just like, I just want to be with Ji-young. If she's not here anymore, then I don't want to be here. And fortunately, there was a fisherman nearby who saw this and was able to get him out into a hospital. But now he's lost his memory. So this is where he lost his memory. He ends up going to America, going to school there. Ha-kyung, his mom has passed away at this point, and he is still just trying to take care of his younger brother. And we do see the big reveal where Ha-kyung goes to be with Yoon-sung because he now realizes what happened and that Yoon-sung was so devastated and heartbroken over this. And so he goes to, like, tell Yoon-sung what really happened and who he really is. And the brother comes in and is like, you need to stay away from Yoon-sung. I don't know why you keep showing up. And Yoon-sung comes out and he's like, I knew. Like, I knew it was you. I knew that you were a man. So you find out that Yoon-sung knew that he was a man for a long time from the hotel scene in the original timeline and already knew who he was again. And just was scared to tell Ha-kyung both times because he was like, if I tell him that I know this, is he going to leave?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of back and forth. The family is still trying to keep them apart. And Yoon Sung distances himself from the family at this time. He's like, I'm not going to be around you if you guys are going to behave this way.
Yeah.
So then they get a message from the grandfather where the grandfather left a video message saying, like, I also knew that Ji Young was not actually Ji Young, but I had grown such a fondness for her that it didn't matter to me anymore. And it meant that you, my son, and my grandson came around a lot more. So I was just happy to have that. And I don't care what the outcome was. I don't care why you did it. I'm just happy that you were here. Mm-hmm. So the father, you actually see him cry at this part because it was his father. Yeah. So he was upset. And so then you get to see Ha Kyung's little brother graduate and go from college, and he is going to work at a hospital that Yoon Sung's family owns. The father actually offers him a job there, like trying to make amends. And they go have a really awkward family dinner, Yoon Sung with the rest of his family. And I loved this part because the mom kind of stands up to everyone else and is like, all right, it does not matter if Yoon Sung is in love with a man and is living with a man or not. I don't care. We're a family and we're going to start acting like it. And if anyone has a problem or treats Yoon Sung bad, then you're going to have to deal with me.
Yeah.
And I loved that energy.
Yeah. She was not there for it
She
at
was
all.
not having it. And I loved it. This was such a good story. It's so emotional. It's so well told. I love it. I probably will go and buy it. It's leaving the unlimited subscription.
Yeah.
I won't have it there anymore, but I do think that I'll buy it and then probably rebuy it if it ever comes out in print.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
Yeah.
And again, I say, do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
You could
It's been proven.
It's been proven that we're crazy. But yeah, Reunion was absolutely beautiful. It was so good.
I loved it. I just love how Yoon Sung the entire time is just like, I don't care who you are. I love you. Yeah. And it makes no difference to me that you're a man or that you're not the person that you said you were. I love you. And I loved it.
Yeah, it's so good. All right. So the last one that I read for today in catching up with completed series was When Fate Finds Us. And this series had an absolute vice grip on me when it first started.
Yes.
I truly don't know what actually got me to like stop reading it other than just getting distracted in general. This series is on Manta. It's part of the subscription, so you can read it for free if you are a part of that. It is 86 episodes and it is a romantasy series. For anyone who hasn't read this one, the background of this is that you have the main character, Noemi. She is a priestess and a prophet. And so every time she touches somebody or makes physical contact with them, she can tell them their future. However, as soon as people realized that she could do this, she immediately got swooped up by the local church and was just used and abused for her powers. So they would tell her all of this stuff that she's allowed to tell everyone. They would make her stand outside and give quote unquote blessings to people for money. Money she never got to see, of course, where she would get to tell people their fortunes or their futures. And if anything was bad enough, she wasn't allowed to warn people. She had to just tell them some candy-coated versions so that they would keep coming back to the church and donating money. Mm-hmm. And she got branded as the wife of God, because they assume as the prophet that she's touched by God himself. The god of their land is named Olak, and she does end up meeting him in her dreams and finds out that she is basically Olak's property. So she can do all of these prophecies. He goes, I let you have these powers. This is a gift from me, and you will eventually be mine when I decide to come and claim you. So be a good girl, basically. Well, at one of her events where she's reading off all these people's futures, this one merchant comes up and he is not a believer. He doesn't believe in Olak, the god. He doesn't believe that she is a prophet. And he is only going there because he's had a recent string of bad luck. And his brother is like, we must have angered the gods. Like, you need to go and, see somebody about it to try to get our bad luck to go away. So Theo goes, And he's asking a question about like his merchant ship, whether or not they should go out because they've had so many issues. And Noemi is like, I can tell your future. And he's like, yeah, right. And so she kisses him because she wants to see what his future is. And in that moment, she doesn't see his future, but both of their futures intertwined. Like they are together. And she's never seen her own future before where it wasn't her just dying slowly and painfully. So she's like, this is never a future that I was shown. Do I get to do this? And she clings to this merchant and is like, you are my future. Don't go anywhere. And he's like, okay, crazy lady, goodbye. Well, everything that she had in a reading for him ended up coming true. And it was bad luck. And he comes back for her and is pissed, but is also kind of more in belief of everything. And he finds out just how terrible her circumstances are, and he helps her run away. So the majority of this story is Noemi trying to distance herself from the God who said that he built like this life for her and can take it away. She's trying to see if she can change her future because she feels like in meeting this merchant, that's what happened. And basically she and Theo are playing husband and wife around everybody so that it's not as, out in the open that they're the runaways that everyone is looking for, while they also try to figure out how can they sever the ties between her and God so that she can live her own life happily. Where I left off was part of the way through season 3. And in this part, we've already found out that there was a higher god that existed back in the day. His name was Eidos. And Olak and another god had actually overthrown him. And so Eidos has a crown that was related to Theo's family. They had passed it around as merchants, and it ended up having a final resting place, but it was broken. So they go to collect all of these pieces of the crown, and it helps Noemi to actually get in contact with that god as well, who says they're going to set out to help Noemi set things right, put Olak back in his place, sever their ties, and give her the life that she deserves. So as they're going back to the capital to try to meet back up with Olak and, the religious faction that she was a part of previously, they realize that a lot of the turmoil that has happened between neighboring villages has been built up by Olak and the church. So, for example, in the main kingdom of Slan, they thought that their king had been murdered and he was still alive, but they blamed it on a different faction of people and were basically at war with them. And the king was still breathing. He just was unconscious because a seed from a flower of Olak's offerings was placed in the man's throat, and it was a slow dose of poison. So they start uncovering all of this and how Olak really is just this terrible force against humanity. And really they come together so that Noemi can really stick it to him. Her brother ends up sacrificing himself. You find out that he also was a prophet, but that when he told Olak things that he didn't want to hear, Olak basically banished him and took Noemi instead because she was easier to manipulate. And so her brother ends up sacrificing himself and working to help in killing Olak so that she can be set free. And that's his penance, he says.
Aww.
So honestly, this entire series was so good. I love Theo. Theo adores Noemi and is like, you were my future the entire time. I just couldn't see it. And literally worships the ground that she walks on. Anytime the god Eidos is offering his powers to Noemi and he has his hands on her, you just see Theo pissed off and grumbling about it because he's like, did you have to touch her to do it? Could you just leave her alone? That's my wife. Even though they're not really married yet. But I love it. I just love how much he leans into being her husband, and their relationship at the end is just so absolutely precious and cute. I am so glad I finished this series. It's beautiful. Loved every second of it. And I don't know why I fell behind in the first place.
I'm glad you love it, and I'm glad that you ended on that one and not one that you maybe didn't like so much.
Maybe. I don't know. Was there one of those? Who's to say? I will say, if you have not read When Fate Finds Us, there is a beautiful silver-haired god with snake eyes and a snake tattoo around his neck. So,
I mean, what more do you need?
You don't need anything else. But I am really hoping that we can do more of these. I know that there are quite a few series.
Yes, there are.
We've started them and not finished them yet. So it'll maybe have to be a series for a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, this is helping us out too. We've already completed multiple series in January.
Yeah.
So good for us.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me either. But anyways, thank you all so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to talking to you all on the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.